I'm Ian Rush and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored Match Build Up show ahead of Liverpool's trip down to Bournemouth in the FA Cup 4th round. Anyone know anything about Bournemouth?
It's a long way away.
It's a long way away. Fantastic, Chris. Excellent. Thank you very much for watching the show this week. Always a pleasure. No, it's a 12:45 kickoff. It's going to be on ITV as well for those of you based over this side of the pond.
What's the stadium called?
Dean Court.
I didn't know that.
Why didn't you say it?
I looked it up before we started.
What's the nickname?
Cherries.
Thanks, Jack.
Jack's got some paper on. Jack can run the show tonight.
I know, yeah. You know what? We're gonna go straight into the trivia question because Dave's written it. He's not here this week. This is why I think he's taking the piss. So everyone settle in. If you haven't got yourself a cup of tea yet or cracked open a bevy, pause it. Do that now.
Let's be honest. You emailed them and said we don't know that much about Bournemouth. We need some filler. Make the question extra long, didn't you? Drag it out for a few minutes.
I'd recommend two.
Dave doesn't need any encouragement, does he, to drag a question out?
No comment. Okay, this is amazing. This is the record breaker. You probably won't remember Everton stalwart Dave Watson's younger brother Alex. I don't. He only made 9 first-team appearances for the Reds before being sold for £150,000 at A.F.C. Bournemouth on the 18th of January 1991. The young defender went on to play 182 times for the Cherries, scoring 6 goals, but, and here's the real question, after that scuff, which player moved in the opposite direction just 3 days earlier? That's Bournemouth to Liverpool, for those of you who have severe mental problems, and went on to play 308 times, scoring 41 times for Liverpool. Answer at the end of the show. That's dead easy. But I think the reason why he's made that so long-winded is to disguise the fact that it's a piece of piss. So anyone complains that we have some ridiculously hard pure guesswork questions, that's get on this.
Easy. If you don't know, you look at this one.
The first paragraph was just filling there.
It was
pure guff. Right, okay then. Mike.
Hello.
12:45 kickoff.
Yeah.
In Bournemouth,
yeah.
Does the FA give a shit about travelling fans?
No.
Excellent. Once again, thanks very much.
No, we don't.
It's a piss
thing,
isn't it?
It is. It's like playing Newcastle at 12:45 or 11:30 or whenever we played Newcastle.
Times 2.
Yeah.
Essentially.
It's just it's a joke. I know people who are going, and they're setting off at 4 o'clock in the morning. I think the Spirit of Shankly coach leaves at 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that. They
are going to be fucked by the time the game kicks off. Absolutely.
It's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you're not going on an organised coach as well, it's like trains, planes and automobiles trying to get down there, because you've got to there's a train to London, then you've got to change at London, and then there's a coach or another train to Southampton, and you've got to go from Southampton. It's just a bit of a long-winded excuse for a journey.
Seems as though the FA must have a deal with Premier Inn and the like as well for the night. I noticed just this weekend the Sunderland-Southampton game as well was the early kick-off this weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly the same. Complete joke. I've seen the counter-argument being made that obviously there's far more, it's televised, so far more people get to see it, blah, 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 and obviously for international markets, and you've got thousands of people watching it around the world. I'm sure people watching it in Australia and whatever are probably thinking, boss, you know what I mean? It's probably not bad. It's probably not too bad for them. In fact, we asked this question last week about the 5:30 kickoffs. Let us know where you obviously if you're watching Liverpool games abroad, you're watching them on streams and what have you. How does the 12:45 kickoff over there? How does that affect your life for that game? What time is it going to be for you when you watch the game this weekend? No, but the thing is, that's great, and I've said this. Plenty of times that our fan base based abroad is absolutely astonishing, but for me, the real Liverpool fans, I don't class us in that category because we don't go to away games. The real Liverpool fans, are the ones who go to every home and away. You know what I mean? The ones who go through the fucking wind and the rain and everything in between, and to go to these far flung reaches of the country and Europe to watch Liverpool play. And the FA are just basically making that as difficult as they possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough anyway, isn't it? I mean, Their life revolves around Liverpool Football Club. Every fucking weekend they're up and down the country and sort of stuff. So it's difficult enough anyway. But putting it this time, you're pricing them out enough with just the ticket prices for footy. To then have to organise trains, 2 trains and a coach to get to a football match, and then 2 trains and a coach to get back. I mean, you're talking that much cost, like 150 quid. Yeah, 150 quid maybe return for a game of footy, which is an hour and a half long. It's mental.
Yeah, no, it's utterly ridiculous. There's any thoughts on this actually? If you've got a ticket to the game and if you're travelling down, let me know how you're going about getting to it. If you're pissed off with it, have a rant. If you think, look, it's a sport full of opinions. If you think it's actually, if you think, fuck them, who gives a shit, it's their decision to go down there, and it's more important that the people, the millions of people who are going to watch it on television are able to watch it on television, then by all means leave that opinion in the comment section underneath as well. I suppose the logic is it's got to be, they obviously got a lot of slots, haven't they, for when the games are, what televised games and what. ITV, I don't even know how it works. I presume ITV,
when ITV picked that game, though, they picked it Liverpool before Bournemouth and Burton played their replay. So they picked the game at that time before. So if Burton had got through, Burton's Stoke area, isn't it? So it wouldn't have been that bad.
Yeah.
So I think it was ITV picked the game because they wanted to get Liverpool on. But obviously it's one or the other, isn't it?
So
having it on the Sunday morning would make more sense in many ways. Yeah.
Maybe. It's a joke. It's a piss thing. Anyway, how do we think Liverpool should approach this game? Chris, I'll start with you. Obviously,
Steven Gerrard defence midfielder, Coutinho, Sterling, Suarez, Sturridge up front. Swap the centre backs around. Maybe Martin Kelly as the left back. Why not? Fuck it.
Why the fuck not?
And Brad Jones in goal.
Yeah, I mean, good one. Thanks. I think the point, Mike, is that we've not got loads of games. You know what I mean? We've got the FA Cup and we've got the league. Now we haven't got masses of squad depth.
Yeah, but we've got the derby on Tuesday.
Yeah, 3 days later. This
is the double-edged sword to it, isn't it? Is how important is the FA Cup to us? There's still, championship sides. Is that right? Yeah. Can't really say. I apologise, Bournemouth fans. Mel Machin used to be Bournemouth manager, am I right in saying that?
We've got a good young manager at the moment, Eddie Howe. Yeah. He's done good things there.
Has he guys at Burnley?
Yes, he was, but he was at Bournemouth before then. Yeah. He rejoined them. He's got them 9 points above the relegation zone as well. It's the first time they played at this level, so
fantastic. Well, the thing for me is, like I say, the approach-wise, I think we want a couple of now. We've got to be in it to win. Liverpool exists to win trophies. We should. The players we've got, the other players we've got, look at the team we put out against Oldham. You'd like to think that's enough, but then again, it wasn't enough, was it? We did have to change things. We did have to get Coutinho and Lucas and Suarez and everyone in between, on the pitch to try and win the game. Do you think we've got the depth to go down all the way down to Bournemouth and get a result without the first team players?
I think we do a similar thing where you play a couple of fringe players and have the Suarez's etc. in reserve on the bench to bring on if and when needed. But I think the difference this time is we've got Sturridge back, and Sturridge needs game time to get fit as well, so you'd imagine that Sturridge will start the game.
Yeah.
Maybe if you play Coutinho, it gives them a chance to rekindle the old last season's partnership and playing Coutinho in behind. I don't know, I think you've got to we want to win the FA Cup, don't we? I think at the end of the day, as you say, Liverpool Football Club exists to win trophies. Brendan would love to have a trophy on his CV, but also at the same time, if the derby wasn't on Tuesday, you could think about rotating the squad a bit, but you wouldn't. Sorry, you play first.
You put your first team out, you batter them, and you take off.
But there's I don't know. It's a big risk, isn't it? What if you play Suarez and some Championship player crocs Suarez, and you haven't got Suarez for the derby? It's a risk to take, innit?
These are the things currently keeping Brendan Rodgers awake at night. Yeah. You take Suarez down to Bournemouth, Chris, and he comes back with an injury. Would you just say, fuck it, wrap him in cotton wool if we're not good enough to beat Bournemouth? We shouldn't be.
I think that's right, but I've got a slightly different view to both of you, to be honest. I think although Liverpool obviously exists to win trophies, and I want to see us win trophies, I also want to see us get back in the Champions League. I've made this point before, the BT money comes in a year time. If we're not in it, then we're going to really struggle for a decade to try and get in and play catch up with the other teams. I think it's pretty obvious to me, I don't know whether you'll agree, that 3 teams are sort of pulling away now.
Yeah.
We're in a fight for 4th place, and our squad is so thin at the moment that risking our players against Bournemouth for an FA Cup, the risk reward isn't there for me. An FA Cup isn't big enough reward to start thinking about missing out on the Champions League, and that's a sorry situation to be in, but that's the way I see it. Like,
I suppose, I mean, I get that, but I mean, go on, Jack.
I was going to say, I think last time Mike and I were on together, we were speaking about how there's an element to which the small squad we've got is a perceptive issue because we've not had the players involved as much as maybe they might have been, say, if we were in Europe or if we'd stayed in the League Cup. And the players like, particularly Aspas, Alberto maybe as well, you'd like to think they're good enough to get in that team and not have any worries this weekend. There's a few players there. The interesting selections for me will be Johnson and Coutinho, 2 players who seem to be out of form a little bit. Now, with a lot of the form players, I'd be more than happy ahead of the derby to take them out, have them on the bench maybe and get them involved if need be. With Johnson and Coutinho, it's a difficult situation whereby do you play them and risk them not being available for the game after to get them in a bit of form, or do we leave them out altogether? But maybe
you look at Philip Coutinho, who can't shoot to save his life, but if he sticks a screaming in the top corner against Bournemouth, he goes into the derby, maybe he's got a sign.
I don't even think he needs to score a screamer. I think he just needs to play one nice pass for Sturridge or something. It's probably all he needs. I think his confidence works not only on shooting and stuff, but it's on his game's built around assists, isn't it?
I think going back to Chris's point about the squad being so wafer thin as it is, on the flip side of that, we don't actually have a choice other than to play the majority of our first team anyway. Midfield wise.
But then you could look at it, and I'm only thinking off the top of my head here, but people have been calling for Sterling at right back, so that's a possibility against the lower league side. I think you've got Ibe, who's now back from his injury and has been flitting around. He's a natural replacement for Sterling anyway on the right hand side. We're talking about Coutinho and Sturridge, and then the centre midfielder. You've got those issues, haven't you? Obviously.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's your problem. You can't. Other than Gerrard, Allen and Henderson, you haven't got anyone else.
I can't see
Sacco might need some game time.
Well, here's the thing. I can't see anywhere where Martin Kelly's not going to play right back.
Well, if Glenn Johnson's got this knee injury everyone's going on about, then he won't play in that game anyway, will he?
Yeah. Providing it is an injury. I mean, if it's form, then there's a case that we need to play him, which is frustrating ahead of the derby. And that's frustrating in a sense because then we've got a couple of players on the pitch who we're playing because they're not in form, and that's impacting upon the development or the fitness of 2 other players who could be there.
What's the defence though?
Going back, it's such an easy argument to say, oh, he's not in form, let's play him against the lower league side. It never seems to work. You think it's never worked for me. That you play a player who's out of form and you play a lower league side, they just look even worse, and they never get the confidence back.
Because a lower league player's roasting them then. Yeah. It's not a Premier League player.
Yeah, it's true. No, I mean, in fairness though, Aspas, did take his chance to a certain degree. More so second half against all of them. He got a goal, got the important goal in that game as well.
I think if Aspas doesn't play, I think there's a case that he could be going
bye
before because it's at the end. It's the last week of the window, isn't it? If he doesn't play, then the indications could be that he's going on loan somewhere.
Definitely. Well, we're going to do a lot more transfer talk on the Reds News Roundup this week, which will be on redmentv.com. I'll probably just look at the agenda. It's going to be at least half an hour, probably more like 40 minutes. Check that out. As I say, it's free for a month if you want to check that out on the redmentv.com. As I dropped in there, we didn't expand on the points. Defence. If Sacco's fit, does he go straight back in at this game, or does the same rules of not wanting to rush people back before the derby or risk people before the derby, does that apply? Because for me, Mike, we need to get a settled back four as much as possible. We're definitely going to change at least one of the full-backs, I'd suggest. Do we need to establish our centre-back pairing and then take that into the derby?
Yeah, but I think I agree with you. I think because if you're going to go with, until Agger's back, certainly logic tells you go with Scale and Sacco. But then there's that risk again, isn't there, before the derby? If you bring Sacco back in now and he gets a knock, then doesn't play in the derby, and it's
not easy.
It's catch-22, isn't it? You just don't know what the right thing to do in that situation. Perhaps because Toure, if Sacco is back, Toure's not going to play in the derby. You play Toure, and you'd hope that Scale and Toure would get you through against Bournemouth. you'd hope. I mean, I don't know much about Bournemouth. Are they a fast-pacey team? I don't know. Are they a long ball team? You know.
The thought of...
Tell us in the comments section.
Yeah, the thought of Mamadou Sakho, though, coming back in and going up against Lukaku and possibly Lassina Traore, having been out for a month and a half or whatever, like that does not fill me with masses of confidence. But again, like I say, I think at the minute he's our best, closest to fit centre half. You don't want to run the risk of potentially goosing him before he's ready to go. How does that fear compare to the prospect of playing with the same centre backs on Tuesday as we've been playing our similar games? Very similar. Yeah. So from that point of view, you just have to say
it's brown trousers time either way.
Well, look, the fact is, the point should be that Skrtel and Traore, even if they're not the best centre back pairing at the club, but I'm by a long shot, they should be able to go to. I mean, how often do we say this on this show when we come up against a team that like we should be winning, and we say these players should be able to, and they
Martin
should.
Kelly and Toure at centre half should be able to cope against Bournemouth.
Yeah, if we had full-backs, then I actually wouldn't think that was that bad a shout. I mean, a Laurie. Oh no, never mind. I was on low. Just a little tidbit for you there. We've only ever played Bournemouth 4 times, and they've all come in the FA Cup.
This sounds like a Dave question coming up.
It's not a question. It's just a very interesting little fact. Both times we played them at Dean Court first. Both times we drew. And both times we took them back to Anfield and beat them 4-1. So there you go for a few little
take a draw then.
Little punters out there. Yeah, do that. 4-1 is the score at Anfield as well this season. So there's one for you. Okay, score predictions then, please, Mike. How do you think it's going to go down against A.F.C. Bournemouth in the 4th round of the FA Cup?
3-1 Liverpool.
I'll call it 2-0 away win.
2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 because we have to concede, of course. I'll take 1-1 because to follow the trend. This has got all those feelings of like it's an early kick-off, it's miles away. Look, everyone's got one eye on the derby. I think we'll make really hard work of this game.
It's the FA Cup. We'll make really hard work of it.
Of course. Let me know your score predictions in the comment section underneath. Also, who do you think should start at the back? Who do you think... There's not a great deal of choice who's going to start in midfield, but who is it for you? And does Suarez play? Does he go on the bench? Do you wrap up and cotton wool all together? Let me know all of this in the comment section. Right, trivia answer. Don't even need to look it up. The trivia question was a big load of biff. And then followed by the question, who, Dave Watson's brother or something went to Bournemouth 3 days later, someone came the other way. Yada. And Mike, it was...
Jamie Redknapp.
It was, in fact, Jamie Redknapp, yeah. Was easy, that, wasn't it? If you thought that was too easy...
And his dad was the manager at the time.
His dad was in fact the manager at the time. God almighty. Yeah, so there you go. If you got that right, you're obviously boss. If you had to Google that,
you were born in the 90s.
Poor form. Okay, yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there on the subscriber shows this week. We're going to be talking transfers, January transfer window, Lucas Leiva's injury, how that's going to impact Liverpool, and potentially any moves we've got lined up between now and the 31st. John Henry and Tom Werner are in town. Is that good news? Glenn Johnson and his contract situation. Liverpool's fullback problems. Alori to Granada. More news on Mohamed Salah and our away kit's been leaked for next season as well. So we're going to talk all about that and a hell of a lot more on the redmentv.com, which is free for a month. So if you like it, you can check it out. It's going to cost you fuck all. If you don't like it, you can cancel it and get on with your lives. Anyway, gents, thank you for joining us on this little show, and we'll see you next week. Ta-ra.